And I'm telling you guys right now, I couldn't be more excited for you guys to really hear from our CEO. I think this is the first time we've done a training right together, Jenna, and I couldn't be more excited because I know people are going to leave right exactly how I left that event. People are going to leave with that same exact vibration, that same exact frequency that I was able to leave right after the Dallas event. So that's enough for me. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you. The mic is yours. You can take it away. I'm right here with my notebook and pen, and you can literally rock this call. Let's go. I'll pass it over to you, Jenna.
Thank you so much for that introduction and for just really kind of recapping the event. I mean, if you weren't there, you literally missed something so special that you have to experience. You have to be there to experience, so you don't want to miss the next one. But all right, so real quick, you guys, we don't have a ton of time here today. This is why you have to be at the events, because you get the longer version. You get the, all the details. And I tried to cram as much as I could on stage in 30 minutes, but honestly, there's another event coming called The Journey. This is a 5-day, super intensive personal development. I'll be speaking for hours at that event, right? So if you really want the long, full lesson of everything, that's going to be the event to get to. But I'm going to try to summarize as much as I can for you guys right here, just so if you weren't there, you understand kind of like what we're working with and kind of, what we're really teaching and what we're all about. So some of you know, some of you don't know. I was personally mentored by Bob Proctor for 3 years from 2019 to 2000 and really 2021, 22. So he passed early in 2022. And, I feel like I had learned everything that he was teaching in my conscious mind, right? I knew the topics, I could talk about them, but I didn't let it impress upon me until after he had passed. And that's not saying I never manifested anything in my life until then, because I had. But as Bob would say, I was an unconscious competent. You know what I mean? Some people know how to work in flow with the universal laws, and they don't know what they are, but they're in flow of them. And other people know what they are and are not in flow with them, right? So what I want to bring to you guys really quickly before I get too, into different, tangents here is the number one thing you're going to need to know is not only what your goal is, but how to set the right goal. Okay. So the reason why most people are not hitting their goals, listen, the majority of people they do not hit their goals, but that's because the majority of people don't have a goal, or they don't have one that's worth trading their life for. And so when you're setting a goal, it has to be something that you're willing to trade your life for it. Okay. Because let's say you want to hit 10K affiliate, but you're in the day-to-day grind. You absolutely hate what you're doing. It doesn't matter what your goal is. If your spirit's not into that goal, you're not going to hit it, right? And so if you're willing to trade your life for it, that's saying that this is your passion. This is what gives you life. This is what helps you build that fire within. So when you pick your goal, it needs to be a big goal. It needs to be big enough for you to pursue with purpose. So there's 3 types of goals, A, B, and C. An A-type goal is something you already know how to do, right? So if you've hit 5K affiliate before, your goal should not be hitting 5K affiliate. If you've bought a new car before, your goal should not be to buy another new car. You already know how to do that. That's not going to challenge you. That's not going to be interesting to you. And it's not going to help you get through those tough times because it is not even big enough to be worth it, right? Number 2 is a B-type goal. This is something that you think you can do if you can plan out and have the right resources. Like this is where you're kind of thinking like, it's a stretch, maybe I'm going from a Honda to a Lexus, right? It's a stretch, it's bigger income, it's bigger, whatever. But you think you can maybe figure out a plan. If you're in sales, I just got to sell X amount more and I can hit that goal. I don't want you to set that type of goal either. Okay. Because again, when the going gets tough, that's not going to be big enough for you to show up every day excited, whether the paycheck's there or not. So what I want you to set is a C-type goal. A C-type goal only lives in fantasy. Now, the majority of people can't get here because we learned at a young age to stop daydreaming. I'm going to challenge you guys to turn that faculty back on and learn how to daydream and learn how to stay in the daydream. Okay? And so what does the best version of yourself look like? Like, I want you to really think about this. Are you a CEO dressed in a suit and tie? Are you walking through a building that you own? And you're providing good to the entire world. Like, what does the next version of yourself look like? Maybe not. Maybe you want to start a hippie little community out in the woods, and the next version of yourself is beating on drums, doing some chants in the woods. I don't know what your goal is. You want to RV around the entire world. Okay, that's fine. You're going to bring a message of hope to 50 states. Okay, that sounds good. What does the highest version of yourself look like? Because I want you to think about that. Because most people think, oh, well, I could be that someday. But I wanted you to challenge yourself and to start thinking about that as if you walked into that today, in spirit today. Walk into that next version of yourself today. Because the fact of the matter is everything is already here. Like the technology for the cell phone has always been here. We just didn't know we knew how to do it, right? The technology for an 8-cylinder engine has always been here. We just didn't know we knew how to do it, right? And so the next version of yourself is already here. You just don't know how to do it. So we're going to learn how to do it. Okay, so I want you to set that C-type goal. Now, here's what happens when you set your C-type goal. If you can allow yourself to dream big enough, if you can allow yourself to not talk yourself out of it while you're setting this goal, okay, you're going to get hit right smack in the face with a paradigm problem. This happens just about every single time because quite frankly, I'm just going to keep it really simple. You can't get to your goal until you've cleared the path energetically, right? And if you haven't cleared that path energetically, then there is no freeway to flow. If you can't flow, you can't reach your goal. So there's a paradigm problem. So this is, I'm not worthy. I'm not afraid of failure. I'm afraid of success because every time I've had success in my life, it's been taken away. Every time I started making money, I lost it all. Every time I fell in love, they left. Every time I relied on my parents, they weren't there. Like these are the things that we learned somehow along the way that created a program within us. When you think about TV programming, it's programming. Why does it work? Well, because your mind functions in two different ways. You have a conscious mind and you have a subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is responsible for 10% of your thinking, reasoning, logic. This is where the books are piled up. This is where how you got your degree. You memorize something, you spit it back out. Okay, but your subconscious mind is your emotional mind. This is the center of all your actions. Okay, and so the way TV works is your conscious mind's turned off, your brain dead for a little bit, right? So what does that mean? Your subconscious mind is now wide open. So anything that you're witnessing on TV that has an emotional plot to it is going straight into your subconscious and thereby programming you to take action based on what you just saw. So if we know that technology already exists in our televisions, well, what do you think you have to do to change the programming that's in there? Well, you have to open up your conscious mind, turn it off for a minute, quit trying to be logical because honestly, success is very illogical, and stop talking yourself out of it. Don't listen to any of the negative self-talk. Open yourself up so that when you plant that goal into your subconscious and you fuel it with emotion, you emotionalize it. If you do that enough times, you will achieve exactly what it is you planted in there. Now, there's only two ways to change your subconscious mind or to change the programming that's in there. There's only two ways. One is repetition, and the other is an emotional event. This is why trauma creates programs for us later on in life. Because if you go through an emotional event, you thereby learn that programming that you find self-fulfilling, self-prophesizing, manifesting in your future, right? So what we want to do is when we get our goal cards, and I want you guys to write it down, the first step to creating something from the spiritual or the mental into the physical is by act of writing. When you write it down, that's the first step to bring it into the physical. So you have to write it on a piece of paper. Fine if you want to put it in your phone, also have it on a piece of paper as well. And you want to set two goals. One's personal and one is professional, okay? And do not work on more than two goals at a time because you have to focus, you have to use your will in order to achieve it, okay? So I want you to write it down and I want you to repeat it to yourself every morning, every single night, out loud. We live in a universe of sounds, right? Sound vibrations. If you hear yourself saying these things, it will enter your subconscious much faster versus if you just read it in your head, okay? So you want to do that twice a day, every single day. And eventually, so here's what it's like. In the beginning, you're going to read your goal and you're going to say, this sounds like I'm lying to myself. Like I'm full of it. Like there's no way I'm logging into my bank account and it's having all these zeros attached to it. Like I can't wrap my head around that because currently it's in the negative, right? So at first it feels like you're lying to yourself. But after you do that enough times, you start to think maybe it could work. And then after a few more times, you go, you know what? I think I could actually do this. And when you get to the point where you think, I think I can actually do this, something crazy happens next. So you notice I didn't say you have to know how to hit your goal. And quite frankly, the way it works is the universe, God, that source, power, of all, is going to find the closest raw materials to you to make it happen. Okay, so the way that Chant's going to hit his goals is going to be different than the way I hit my goals because we have different raw material nearest to us. Does that make sense? Okay, so here's the deal. We got to set our goals right, but we also have to deal with our paradigms. We're going to do that through repetition. We're going to do that day in and day out. Now, that's number one is goals. Number two is paradigms. Number three, I'm going to break it down real quickly, is what we call the certain way. Now, people become successful because they do things in a certain way. It has nothing to do with anything else. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you grew up in because the facts are there's poor and rich in the same neighborhood, right? There's people that are successful in corporate America. There's also people that are not successful in corporate America. So it doesn't matter. Only the people that do things in a certain way are guaranteed success. Here are the 4 things that constitute the certain way that you have to know and you have to practice, okay? Number 1, mental picture. You have to know how to hold a mental picture in your head. So when I said daydream, okay, get very, very clear about it. I'm going to say it another way. When I went to go buy my house that I did not have the money for, in fact, I was looking at a limit of house, like financially. And I said, here and under, I can afford, no problem. I can buy it cash. I can do that. But I didn't see anything I liked. So I changed the filters of my search to go twice as high. Okay. I don't have the money for that. I don't have the plan for that. Okay. And that's okay. I'm not concerned about that. Bob said it another way. He said he was consulting a couple and they said, well, we really want to buy a house, but we don't have the money. And Bob said, what do you need the money for? You haven't decided you want to buy a house, right? So here's what I mean by mental picture. I went to realtor.com or whatever, real estate website you want to go to. I don't care. I went to the virtual tour of that house. I walked into that tour mentally. I placed my furniture. I chose where my kids' rooms were going to be. So by the time I took the physical tour, the lady didn't have to say anything to me. I already knew where everything was. I already told her where I was putting everything. And she said, great. Are you ready to fill out an app to, figure out how you're going to pay for it? And I said, yeah, I am, sure. Like, I don't have it yet, but I know that within 30 days, I'm going to need it in order to close. Right. So I just go through the process. I take the action. And then I kid you not, a week or 2 goes by. Suddenly we get the call. Hey, we have funding for this house, and you guys can close in 45 days. Boom. So you have to have the mental picture. You got to be already there mentally. Because if you're not already there mentally, as if it's already here, y'all, I went to my old house, my current house I was in, and I was looking at my old house as if it were my new house, like to the light fixture. So you got to hold that mental picture. Number 2, faith. Now, people say that the opposite of fear is faith. But honestly, the opposite of fear is faith based on understanding. Okay, so I'm not talking about blind faith. Blind faith is not going to be worth anything to you because as soon as you hit a bump in the road, your faith is gone, right? You can say, I got faith in, in my health or whatever. And first diagnosis you lose your faith. You're having blind faith. You got to have faith based on understanding. And what that means is if circumstances are not going your way, you already know it's for you, right? You already know it's part of the process. You already know it's a blind spot you're going to have to address before you get to the next level, right? So you got to have faith based on understanding that you are made in his image. Like you are a spiritual being. You have spiritual powers that you can tap into the infinite source of all power and create anything you want as long as you're willing to tap into that. But you got to have faith that is the truth. Like you got to have faith that is how it works, because anytime you're like, nah, I don't believe that. I don't think so. Well, you're just cutting it off, right? You're preventing it from going anywhere. So the more you study yourself, and I'm not saying you have to be an expert at the Bible. I'm saying there are hundreds, if not thousands of books out there that are all saying the same thing. So the more you are studying, the more you're going to have this confirmation that there is literally no denying it. You see it in theology, sure. You see it in philosophy, sure. But you also see it in science. Okay? So you got to have faith based on understanding. Okay, number 3 is gratitude. Gratitude is the connecting force between you and the infinite. How many of you guys have children? Anybody got kids on here? I have 4 kids, okay? And I have some children that are naturally grateful, and I have other children that are naturally spoiled, okay? And like, they're always at odds with each other. Why don't I get this? He gets that. I said, well, quite frankly, because I am more interested in giving to the person that is grateful versus the one that is ungrateful and complaining and not pointing out the good in their life, right? So do you think your father or the source of all life is going to treat you the same way? Right. So if you're not saying thank you for what I have, and thank you for what I am manifesting, and thank you for my future house. No, I don't know how I'm going to pay it, but thank you for it because I know it's mine. Okay. That's a connecting force that's going to give you more, right? So you have to have gratitude in all situations. It doesn't matter the circumstance. You have to be a professional at finding the silver lining in every single moment. Okay, because perspective is all up to us, right? So for instance, if I hold this book up and you're looking at this book right now, and I'm saying, is there anything on this book? Well, what you're looking at from this angle, no, there's nothing on this book. But from where I'm standing, there is something on this book. If I turn it around, you can see it's engraved, right? Are we both right? We are both right. We have a different perspective. And so if you're always looking for the good in every situation, you're automatically connected. Your manifestations will be much faster. You're going to hit your goals like that. And your life is going to be much easier, right? Ultimately. All right. And then last, number 4 is your will. So your willpower, your will is one of your higher mental faculties, right? And most people say, I don't have willpower. Well, you do have will, but it may be weak. Okay. This is a muscle that you have to exercise. You want to practice having will or having concentration for something. I did this in the room. I told the backstage guys, I said, play a song. And I'm giving you guys an example because most people, I can't concentrate. Yeah, you can watch. So we played this song. We played Thrift Shop. So now everybody's dancing. Everybody's into it. Who even knows what the heck I'm talking about? Because we're just partying now all of a sudden, right? And then it shuts off. And everybody's standing there like, oh, back to reality, right? They like don't know what's going on. So I'm saying you guys just all concentrated on something to the exclusion of everything else around you. Like your spirit was in it, right? You were all in. And that's literally all we have is what our conscious focus is on at any given moment. So imagine if you take your conscious focus of all the focus that you can possibly put into your business, it has to grow because if you're adding energy to it, it grows. But if you're neglecting it or taking energy away from it, it has to die, right? Because the absence of spirit is death, all right? And so those are the 4 things that make up the certain way. Now, number 4 out of my whole thing is we live on 3 planes of existence, okay? So we have a spirit, we have a physical, and we have an intellect. So I'm going to explain it like this. Spirit is, like we said, above all, okay? That's what we are connected of. That's where we get our energy from, okay? But your mental and your physical is interesting. So have you ever seen, okay, if I tell you right now to close your eyes and to think about what your front door looks like, right? What does your front door look like? Does it have a regular keyhole or is it one of those press down handles? Is it stainless steel or is it copper? What color is your door, right? If you close your eyes and you can think about your front door or your refrigerator or your car or something, you can mentally go there and you can pull up that picture and now you are there, right? Okay, so here's another way that's more relevant to this generation. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody like this? They're physically there, but their mental is someplace else, right? So that's saying you can be in 2 places at the same time because it's a different plane of existence, right? Why does that matter? Because you're going to have to harmonize all 3 of those to really achieve your goals. You got to be in alignment with spirit. but you need your mental focus and your physical focus to be all on your goal that you're trying to achieve. Okay. And then lastly, number 5 is action. This is so important. So this is like, oh man, if you're waiting to be loved, but you're not giving it, you're going to be waiting a long time. If you're waiting for the fire to light and the matches in your pocket, you're going to be waiting a long time. Don't expect there to be heat if you're not willing to light the fire. So the way the universe works is action, reaction. Okay, there's cause and there's effect. What you put out is coming back to you. What you seek is seeking you, right? And so if you're not taking action first, now here's how most people think. I'm going to take action as soon as I have my plan. I'm going to take action as soon as I have some more money. I'm going to take action as soon as we finish up the school year and it's summer, or XYZ. Like, you fill in the excuses there. But I'm going to tell you guys, you can only act where you are right now. There literally is no other time. And so you cannot put your action off, because if you're delaying your action, you're delaying your results. All right. So that's kind of what I shared at boot camp. And again, we're going to have more events. We're going to talk about this. We're going to dive deep into this. I'm actually starting a new series about the universal laws, because listen, I love Bob. He taught us this, right? This is predominantly law of attraction, how to use the law of vibration. That's only one universal law. There's 7 universal laws, 3 of which are transmutable, or sorry, 3 of which are not changeable, not transmutable, and the others are. Okay, so if you can learn how to transmute the ones that are mutable but can get in harmony with the ones that are not changing, you literally have the master key to your success. Okay, if you're in a mental prison, you have the key to get out, right? So that's what we're going to dive into. But I just want to hand it back to you, Anthony. Thank you so much for giving me a space to kind of speak with everybody today. I don't know how good we are on time. I'm definitely open for any Q&A or whatever you want to do. Or we can just end it here. So I'm going to pass it back to you. Again, thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you so much. I mean, I have pages of notes right now. This was too good. And I would say, like, let's end it right now, but I do have a couple of questions for you. But first thing is that I just want to express my gratitude. And I think we all, right, need to express our gratitude. So let's drop some thank you, Jennas, on the chat box, because this training, I'm glad I recorded it. This is going to be able to really set the pace for everybody. And I've already getting messages. I'm ready to go super affiliate. So people are making decisions right here after this training. But we appreciate you, Jenna. One question that I do have for you is, how important is it to really be at the next event? I know that we have the View with Marcus Seta, right? And it's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. So I just want you to give them a little glimpse of why it's so important to really be at this event. Yes, they can be on this training and be super fired up and go out there and really expand and grow their business. But why are these events so important? Why is it that Nashville is so important to really be at this event?
Well, like we talked about, there's only 2 ways to change your life. And it's by changing that programming that's in there, right? And so you can repeat your goals for the next 30 days and start to build up momentum, or you can get to an event, right? If you get to an event, you will have an emotional impact. You will get those lessons right into your subconscious. When you leave that event, you'll have everything you need to go crush it. Like, literally, the blueprint will have been just like injected into you so that you can go now take it out to the world. So that's why events are so, so important, and why we literally can't replace them. Like, a Zoom call is nice. You get the information, but being in the same place of like energy, there's literally nothing like it. Like, people's arm hairs were standing up on edge in the room, like it was like electric. And if you can get your people into that environment where it's like, oh my gosh, like, before I got here, I had no belief in myself, but now I'm here, I can see it. I see evidence of regular people like me crushing it. And now I have all the lessons that I needed to really take it to the next level. Yeah, you can't get that on a replay, you guys. Like, you have to be there, and you have to get as many people as you can there, for sure.
Let's go. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I do have another one, just because I look at, the couple of past years in my industry. There's just 2 things that I see that have been able to help me have the success that I want, which is belief and leadership, right? I look at those 2 things, and being in a state of belief and then also studying leadership, right, has been able to go out there, and I've been able to really see the success and have the breakthroughs in my business. But you see, it's not just going out there and them attending this event, but what would be a good roadmap that you can give them? Because everything rises and falls on leadership. So if people want to rise leading up into this event, what's a roadmap game plan for not just them to be at the event, but what would you do if you're maybe brand new, or if you're, first time on this call and you really just went ahead and help them change that belief system, but now leadership is so important, right? What would be a roadmap that you can give them to say, getting as many people, having a goal, right? First, to have a certain amount of people to this event, and then a little roadmap to say, this is what you should be doing to get people to this event so they can experience, right, what they're about to experience in Nashville.
Yeah. So here's the deal. You're only going to be able to impact so many lives yourself, right? And you're only going to be in harmony with those that are at your current development. And so if you're looking to pull out the best in people, you just get them to the event, because now you're putting them in front of people that are already where you want to be, right? Or where they want to be. Sometimes you get friend zoned by the people that you invite, right? And this gives you an opportunity to really get them back into the business zone and really kind of, so they not only have the plan, but they now are in the right energy, in the right space. So roadmap, I mean, honestly, you guys, our event system is event to event to event to event. And we want to do them about every 90 days. I know in the US next year, we'll have 4 major events, and we're really just building our business from event to event. I did this mostly online with 2 events a year, and it was a grind. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was way harder to gather all the energy on social media to try to fill a room. You know what I mean? Like, this is so much more powerful now that we can do these in person and regularly, because for instance, at the boot camp, they're getting all the how-tos. But at the View, they're going to get the how-tos, but it's going to be theatrical. So it's going to be subconscious level of that, right? And then we go into, maybe we're going to do Journey. That's a deep dive onto just fixing all your paradigms. Like, we're just going to do the whole cleansing right there. You know what I mean? You're going to come out of there a whole new person. And then we're going to lead that into convention as well. So really, the strategy is building from event to event. And also just, as you're bringing more people, keep track of that in your back office. You get to see how many people are buying tickets or not, right? And so make it a personal mission to outdo your numbers every single time, because the fact is, the more people you have in seats, the higher your rank is going to go, and you're going to create what's Mark calls high volume, low maintenance people, right? Because you don't have to babysit them anymore. You just put them in front of the information, in front of the right people, and it makes your job so much easier. So I can't stress that enough. I'm probably sounding like a broken record, so I'm just going to turn it back to you, Anthony, for sure.
No, I appreciate you. My notebook is filled with notes. So we're grateful for you. And, it's really an honor to really be, under your wing and have the whole company here learning from you. And like you said on stage, this was attractive, just like how you gave that example with Demand, right? Like, you guys tune into the right frequency. And I think if everybody, you guys can really get out of this call, you want to tune into that frequency, right? Vibrate at the level of your goals, right? Get in harmony, get into the spirit with it. And you've added so much value, and we appreciate you. We're grateful for you. And to have a CEO like you and Josh, I can sit here for hours and continue to thank you, but we really are. And I think what we're going to do is we just really prove it with our actions. Take this information in and really go all in, right? Really go out there and take massive action. So appreciate you, Jenna. We'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much. We do have a recording, and let's crush it. We'll see everybody in Nashville.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys.
Okay. Bye.